Hi, I'm Catherine Caroli. I wanted to talk about how to approach working on an excerpt like Peter and the Wolf. So the nice thing about Peter and the Wolf when you play in the orchestra is that you don't have somebody telling you what to do or dictating anything. Most likely the conductor will just offer you a hand, which then begs the question, how fast should you really play this excerpt? I don't feel that 176 captures the right character. I think you could play it as slowly as 152 or 160, especially in an audition setting. Of course, in the orchestra, the conductor may ask you to play it faster. But I think 152, 160 offer us a good chance to play this cleanly and effectively. Oftentimes, I find that students have a hard time controlling the first measure, both the grace notes and just getting the notes out. So the first step would be, I think, just to practice it without the grace notes to get control over these upper register articulated notes. I am lifting my pinky for the E so that it doesn't crack. And I am thinking more of a mezzo piano dynamic. Oftentimes I feel that this excerpt is played too aggressively. So you want to first make sure that you can control the sound on those repeated notes. You can practice by playing the low octave fingerings and overblowing the harmonics. It's quite ugly, but quite effective. It doesn't even really matter if you're getting the correct notes out. Just the effort of creating more resistance to get those notes out will help make the real fingerings feel a lot easier immediately. The next step would be to add in the grace notes. I like to add them in much longer than I will actually play them because I find it often gets swallowed when I play them up to tempo. So I would gradually speed that up. As I speed it up, the grace notes will automatically become shorter. And then, as far as the character goes, I think it's nice to make the grace notes a little chirpier. So I play those notes a little bit shorter. Maybe with a tiny bit of accent on them. Also, you don't really want to have 8 notes that all have the same dynamic. So I find that I come away from the first note and make a gradual crescendo to the second measure, arriving on the D. This measure you can play with a lot of character. So again, important to not be too heavy or too assertive. I think a big diminuendo with a lot of accent is really nice. And I'm playing the 8th notes, or the 16th, the B, and then the 8th note G very, very short. Then important here that you don't rush. So next measure, same idea. Again, a lot of character here. Very short on the BA. The next passage is really just about woodshedding. You've got to be able to play it in complete control, and I think without clipping the slurs at all. So again, if you go watch my video about practicing technique, I go through all the steps that I would take to practice a passage like this. I am playing this at probably a piano dynamic and using a very, very light tone. So when I put it all together, hopefully, this is how the excerpt will sound. Etc. Again, this might be a little under tempo, but I think for an audition, to be able to play it cleanly and effectively like that, you're in great shape. And if the conductor or the committee wants it faster, they'll simply ask you. So I hope that's helpful, and feel free to give me feedback or requests or anything at all. Thanks so much, CatherineCaroli@gmail.com.